Hi, George.
Good morning.
How are you, sir?
Unbelievable.
Good. It's nice
I
to
don't,
meet you.
I don't know if that's good or bad, but it's definitely unbelievable.
Well, I think unbelievable at this age. I'll take it as I can get it. So, where are you located?
I'm in hot Atlanta.
Oh, Hot Atlanta. Yeah.
It's hot today. It's up in the 80s and 90s now.
Yeah, we're
Where are
in the
you?
80s. I'm in Kansas City,
Kansas. Okay.
and my stepdaughter actually went to Atlanta about probably a month ago, and she came back and she was like, "We couldn't wear anything. It was so hot there. We had to get short sleeve." And here it was like, I don't know, 50s maybe. So yeah, you said it right, Hotlanta. I get it. So let me ask you this before we move on. I have to take a poll of people that are down south. Boiled peanuts, yay or nay?
For me, nay,
Okay, all right.
but it's very popular. Yes.
Because the first time I went through, I was coming from Florida, and I was like, "What is in that big cauldron of water?"
You got to grow up kind of a little bit outside of Atlanta to get to boiled peanuts.
Well, I would like to get back there and do it, but in the Midwest, when peanuts get wet, you throw them away.
Yeah. No,
So
they boil them in salty water, and they're actually pretty good.
yeah, I need to give it a better shot. But at any rate, we're kind of derailing a little bit here. It's great to meet you. Thank you for taking a minute out. And before we get into your life and your work and what's made you who you are, COVID was quite a thing for all of us to survive through the last 3 years. How did you get through it, and how has it changed the way that you do things now?
Um, I work from home now. I used to be with a company, and I was traveling like crazy when COVID hit. I was like, well, we're not traveling anymore. I can do it all remotely with Zoom calls and things like this, and so that's pretty good. And then I left that company at the end of October, and now I'm working on the dream business that I've had in my mind for you know 15 years, and now I got time to do it.
So, if I was to put you hypothetically in front of a bunch of third graders at a career day, and one of the little ones looks up at you and says, "Hey, what do you do for a living?" How do you answer them? There you go. Good night, kids.
Actually, now what I'm doing, I'm creating a model that would last for generations to help teach people, and I term it as to break through financial poverty. I always thought, why do people not have enough money in life? And I questioned. I said, well, is there not enough money out there? And of course, there's plenty of money in the world. And then I said, well, why do people struggle with that then? And so I just started, analyzing it and figured out a way in a simple, common sense way to solve that. So I would tell those kids, I'm developing a journey that people can go on to change their life and enjoy life and so they can say, now that I have enough money, how do I feel about that before they even get it? So
So,
that's
when, yeah, no, that makes total sense. So, when you were in the third grade, what was your dream? What did you want to be when you grew up?
oh man. I wanted to be a star athlete.
Okay. What
And I,
sport?
I was in gymnastics and got up to the national level in college
Okay.
and was nationally ranked. So I got to their level and then they kicked my butt, but I got there.
Yep, right. That's a huge thing. A lot of people don't get the chance to do that. So, I'm curious. I'm more of a right brain guy. I'm more into the art. I do visual arts. I do the podcasting. I mean, I do IT. I kind of have both, but I've never had that acumen of being an entrepreneur or being in sales or making money. I'm intrigued by what goes into your mind to get to this point where you're like, I can do this. I can make the money. I can make my reality, monetarily speaking. Like I can make
My,
it happen. How does that
my
happen?
first business was at age 7.
Yeah.
And I'm an old guy now, so this was way back when. And I grew up in a large family, so we didn't have a lot of spare money. That we didn't have allowances and stuff. So Dad said, if you want money, go figure it out, right? So my first business was back then. I found if you could take a penny and you could lay it on the top of a railroad track, you could flatten it out just right. And back then, vending machines were kind of just being invented. And if I flattened it out right, I could use that penny as a quarter in a slot machine.
Wow.
And so I was taking those pennies and selling them at school for 15 cents.
Wow.
And that was my, you know, and so they say, what was my first title? I was a counterfeiter, but that's how I made money, and I was selling it, and that was my first business. And now it's funny, towards the end of my career now, I came up with a new business that starts with a penny.
Isn't it funny how life works? It all kind of goes full circle
Circle right
sometimes.
around.
It's right. So, are you from Atlanta?
I'm from Northern Virginia, grew up in a
Okay.
large family on a small farm, and we grew most of the stuff that we ate. And I got into sales after I got out of college and did sales and marketing my whole career. Had my own marketing company for 8 years and got promoted with a company that I opened up a branch out of my living room. They were based in Atlanta, but I was in Virginia. And I grew that 5 years in a row. And then they promoted me to VP of marketing and sales and moved me to Atlanta because all the money I had made him, he'd bought up all these other little companies and they weren't doing as well as I was. So my goal was to go fix them, which I did.
Yeah. So the thing about being an entrepreneur is you can't be afraid to fail. Has that been something that's always been part of your mindset where if it doesn't work, you just move on? It just seems to be a central part of the DNA of anybody that's good at business.
Well, what is failing? Failing
You,
is just feedback. I mean,
right. I,
we all stumble at life and we learn. And once you learn, then you get better from that. So I don't look at it as failure. I look at it as feedback.
yeah. I guess maybe that's not the right term, but it's just that idea that if it doesn't work out, you guys just go right on to the next thing. You learn from it.
Well, I'm a guy that out of the large family of 10 kids, I was the guy in the middle, but I was the guy that always would figure stuff out and fix it.
Yeah.
So, they say if it's not your genius, it's not your job. So I was not the cook in the family. I was the guy to fix the cars and the plumbing and the frozen pipes and, those kind of things. So even as a youngster, I would tinker and figure things out. So that was an entrepreneur has that drive in them. And I'm not the detail guy that goes into coding and stuff like that. I'm the guy that can figure out. And it just, even when I got about money, it was like, well, why do people struggle with money? And I just started figuring that out, and then I figured it out.
Wow. Yeah, I have a lot of admiration for guys like you that can pull that off. I mean, I think that it's
Well, I,
something
I
you
can't I can't do the art stuff that you do, so it's mutual, sir.
it's all a trade-off, right?
Yep.
That's the way life works. So in your life of having these people around you that inspire and fuel you, who's been a hero for you? Someone that you've admired consistently?
Believe it or not, it's an old guy named Tom Hopkins. He was I when I first started in sales, I got a sales job and realized very quickly I didn't know a thing about sales. And he gave me the basics for it. And I studied his stuff, and I have a funny story about him, but um, and so Tom Hopkins was good, and Tony Robbins, he broke through in Harv Eckert. Harv Eckert was probably one of the other people, and I've met a lot of the top guys, Bob Proctor and Harv Eckert, and you know Spence, and a lot of guys, but uh, there's a lot of people that help you try to get open up your own mind and get past your own limiting thoughts.
Yeah. So speaking of business, what's been one of the most impressive business models that you've seen in your lifetime? I mean, we have Apple and Steve Jobs, and we got Elon Musk now. We have all these people that have kind of innovated and pulled things from the depths. But for you, what's been the most impressive person or company?
Well, it's not really a company, it's things. There's things that I believe that just shocked me. One of them is GPS, the invention of GPS. I
Yeah.
mean, we can go anywhere in the world and they know exactly where you are, how long it's going to take, reroute you to get a different route, etc. And the invention, of a birth of a baby. That's the other miracle of the world.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it's I think from an invention type thing, the automobile was a major invention. Henry
Yeah.
Ford, that,
Yeah.
that was a big thing. And the computer. I mean, when they introduced the PC when it was entered in the early 1980s, PC was in 84, and then Apple came behind that. So between the PC changed our life. So that would probably be, between Apple and the PC was life changing for almost everybody.
Absolutely. So you've been at this game for a long time. What's consistently been a motivator for you? What's made you succeed and get to the end of the day and say, you know what, that worked?
A dream,
Yeah,
just a dream that you can be better, and you have motivation and belief and wanting to help people. It's solving needs. That's what we all want, is the ability, and that's what everybody does. They solve needs.
yeah,
Everybody's a salesperson. If your lips are moving, you're selling,
yeah,
because you're selling your idea about how something should be.
yeah. That's
And
true.
we spend our life selling by telling what we think is real.
And it's reputation too. I mean, anything you do, it's a part of who you are. It adds to your integrity and your character and who you are. Uh,
Absolutely.
so, speaking of that, in your lifetime, if you were to have a dream tonight and you ran into the 20-year-old version of yourself and you could give that younger version of you a piece of advice based on the wisdom you've gained in your life, what would you tell that young version of you?
Um, Take action, because they spell action wrong in the dictionary. They spell it ACTION. That's really wrong for life. What they need to do is take the I in the middle, pick it up and move it in the front with a space, and it says I act on.
Oh, yeah.
So that's what gets people going in their life, is what they act on, and they decide to do something, because once you decide, then your brain figures it out.
Yeah.
It goes to the law of attraction, it goes to the universe and all that good stuff. But every success in everybody's life started with a decision. They didn't know how they were going to do it, but they decided, I'm going to do it. I'm either going to sneak out of the house at high school, or I'm going to buy that first car. I'm going to get this kind of job, or I'm going to meet this kind of woman, or whatever. It's a decision, and that's 6 inches away from success, from here to here. You
Yeah.
know,
Yeah, for sure. What are you the proudest of that you've done in your life up to this point?
um, raising my kids. I have
Yeah.
I have 3 grown kids, and they're all out on their own. They got their ducks in a row. They're all married, financially up, and they get grandkids, and getting them part of into society. I'm very proud of that.
So, what's been one of the best success stories you've had in business?
Hmm. Creating this new business that I've just come up with. I
Yeah.
mean, I still have, it's still a proof of concept, but once it's built, it'll last for generations. It's
Yeah.
kind of a give back to society. So um, that's been my passion for years, and I've had so many naysayers saying, "Don't do that. That's ridiculous." Blah blah blah. But I've just stuck with it. So I would have to say that's still, that artwork I'm drawing is still being drawn.
Nice. Very nice. You know, I just watched that movie Air. Have you seen that about the Michael Jordan shoe?
No, no, I'm.
It's it's fascinating because, everybody kept telling this main guy in the movie, you're crazy to go after Michael Jordan. There's no way it's going to happen. I mean, it's
Yeah.
just, and it's that idea of taking a risk and getting in there and, you know, seeing it come through. So it's amazing. Um, so I'm curious with you, everyone has a perception of you, family, friends, clients, colleagues, but you run the show. What's your perception of you? Who do you think you are?
Sorry, 1 second. Sorry.
You're fine.
Say the question again, please. My
Yeah.
perception of what?
So everyone has a perception of you, family, friends, clients, colleagues, but you ultimately run the show. What's your perception of you? Who do you think you are?
I'm a positive, fun guy. Got quick humor, and people can count on me. I mean, if they ask me to do something, it's done.
Yeah.
I grew up in a large family, and we just were raised right, to do things right, and add common sense into life, and to help people.
So you had mentioned being an athlete in the Olympics and just kind of that realm. If you could go back in time and witness a sporting event live in person, what would be that event? Where would you go?
Um, I would like to see the early years of Babe Ruth
Yeah.
and watch him.
Yeah.
You
There
know,
was a
that's
there was a video clip that went around where they colorized one of his at bats and it was fascinating. It was just
uh,
Totally weird to see it. I don't know how they, Ted Turner used to do that with the Turner movies. He would, turn it from black and white to color, and they did that with Babe. But that would be interesting, especially in the context of someone like Otani right now. We're all talking about this dual athlete, and
Yeah.
yeah, Babe was definitely a character. So if anyone out there wants to learn more about you, your business, anything about the history of your business and your life, where can they go?
They would go to millionairesbygeorge.com. That's the dream business. And and what I tell people, it's a system and a process and a community. It's really a community where everybody's contributing, where they can go and make $1.3 million in 2 to 3 or 4 years, depending on how fast they want to work, working strictly part-time on the side, so it doesn't affect their day job or their day life or whatever, and they can't use their own money.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it's just common sense. And people go, well, how do you do that? But all you have to do is go to the page and read the first page, and it tells you exactly the answer.
Yeah. Yeah. That's fascinating. George, this has been great. Thank you for opening up. Best of luck with everything. I'm looking forward to introducing my audience to you and your business and your ideas. I appreciate it.
And tell them also to go to www.getanuff.com, GETANUF.com,
Okay.
because that's a little invention I made as part of my personal journey on Millionaires by George. And it's a little reminder that looks something like, maybe I can show you what it looks like.
Sure.
But it's a little teeny button that looks like this that you put on your refrigerator.
Yeah.
And with that, it reminds you to change your air filter in your house so you have clean air.
Oh, wow.
Just like you're reminded to change your oil in your car.
Yeah.
And go buy one of those for your family or your parents or anybody has breathing problems.
Yeah.
And I built 1,000 of those, and I'm now selling them and continuing my journey through that millionaire process. And I'm on step 20 of 28. So
Oh, wow.
good.
Cool. Well, I think my wife would love that. So I'll have to get in there.
Enough.com. And the question is, hey, Joe, did you get enough?
We never get enough, do we?
Never.
We always want a little bit more. Hey, man, this has been great. Thank you for opening up. Send my best to Hotlanta, and we will
Thanks, sir.
we'll get it out there. Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Have a great day. See ya.